pay attention. So far we have done individual grouping. Am I correct? So what is the principle of, what are the methods of grouping? There are two methods. Do you remember? Types of individual grouping. Procedures. There are two methods. They are forward grouping and reverse grouping. Do you remember? What is the difference between forward and reverse grouping? Yes. Any idea? So I didn't discuss much about this. Listen. Forward grouping means in the patient red blood cell, in the patient blood. This is patient blood, okay? In the patient blood, if we are detecting the antigens, ADO antigens, if we are detecting the antigens, this is A antigen, B antigen, if we are detecting AB antigens, this approach is called as forward grouping. In order to detect the antigens, what we are using? To detect the antigens, we are using a reagent. Am I correct? What reagent we are using? We are using three reagents. They are anti-sera A, anti-sera B, and RH anti-sera. Am I correct? This is called as forward grouping. In forward grouping, we are detecting the antigens present on the red blood cell. Then, what is this reverse grouping? In reverse grouping, we will detect patients' antibodies, not the antigens. In reverse grouping, we are detecting patient blood, plasma, antibodies. We are going to detect antibodies in the patient plasma. How is it possible to determine grouping by antibodies? Say for example, in case of A group, what antibodies are present? In A group individual, what antibodies are present? B antibodies. Yes, very good. Then in B group, you have A antibodies. Am I correct? And in AB group, what antibodies are present? Nothing. None of the antibodies are present. Whereas in O group, both A and B are present. Am I correct? Yes. So this is called as reverse grouping. For this, what reagent we need to take? First of all, what sample we will take? We will take either serum or plasma. Ideally, we should take serum sample. So we collected the blood of the patient, then we centrifuged. After centrifuging, what we did? We took the supernatant and we discarded the cells. Actually, in blood grouping, we need blood cells, right? But we discarded the blood cells and we took the patient serum. Got it? Now listen. What is the reagent we are using for reverse grouping? Very simple. We are taking a graph slide. Okay. Now we will take known blood group cells. Known red blood cells. When I say known cells, maybe Jariel is A group. So I will take her A cells. I took her blood. I centrifuged her blood. Then I removed the supernatant and I took her cells. I know her red blood cells are always A group. Then I took Mr. Talal's blood. Talal was B group. So I taken a known B group cells. B cells. Clear? Then maybe Miss Simran was positive. RH positive. So I took a positive blood. It can be A positive, B positive, AB, O positive, everything. I need a positive blood in the slide. So these are my known blood groups. A group, B group and RH positive group. To this group, now I will add my unknown serum. I will add my unknown patient serum. Got it? I added patients. Keep your face head mask, both of you, Jariel and Africa, and keep buttons to the lab coats, everyone. Even if it is 1 person or 1,000 persons, same rules, right? Everyone must get inspired by Talal. See, Talal was very good. Very good. Okay, where am I? Yeah, now I am adding unknown patient serum. Let us assume, upon adding, I got agglutination in this. What is the blood group now? Upon adding patient serum, I got agglutination in this circuit. What is the patient group? Listen, it's complete reverse. Now you understood, right? Now you got my point. When I added serum, I got agglutination in here. What is the patient blood group? Tell me. I got this is A negative. This group will be A negative. Do you understood why? You didn't? Listen. So I got reaction here. That means the patient has B antibody, B antigens. Okay, patient serum has B antibodies, and B antibodies reacted with the B antigens. If patient has B antibodies, what is his group? A group. So that is why this is A group. Do you understand the concept of reverse grouping? Arpita didn't understand. Right? For this, you need to understand the grouping table. That's why I didn't discuss reverse grouping in the beginning. Listen, do you remember this table? For example, this is a blood group. In blood group A, this is antigen and this is antibody. Now tell me, in A group, what antigens are present? A antigen is present. And what antibodies are present? B antibodies are present. Yes. Now in B group, B antigen present and A antibodies are present. Then in C group, I'm very sorry. AB group. In AB group, antigen A and B are present and none of the antibodies are present. Then in O group, nothing, no antigen present, but both A and B antibodies are present. Is it clear? If you are detecting these one, this is called as forward grouping. If you are detecting these in the patient serum, this is called as reverse grouping. In this case, the patient was A negative patient. Now what happened in A negative patient? What antibodies are present? B antibodies. So when I added his serum, in A cells. Since he didn't have A antibodies, there is no reaction. When I added in B cells, there is a reaction. Because he has B antibodies. Because he is A group individual. He has B antibodies because he is A group individual. Got it? Now listen. Now tell me, in reverse grouping, I got reaction here and here. What is the blood group now? Wrong. This is reverse grouping, keep in mind. In reverse grouping, what is this group? O negative. Got it? Why O negative? That means my patient has both A and B antibodies. That indicates the patient was O group. Now you understood the concept of reverse grouping. Now what is this group? B group. That's why he has A antibodies. Why he has A antibodies? He might be B group individual. Got it? Then what is this group? The concept of positive negative cannot be applicable in reverse grouping. Right? If he is a negative group, that doesn't mean he will have positive antibodies. That's not possible, right? So yes, reverse grouping is only for grouping, not for typing, RH typing. Reverse grouping is only for this, okay? But I will keep RH typing. Okay, so why the hell, you might think in your minds, why the hell we are doing this reverse grouping? This is very confusing, right? Why we are bothering about patients see antibodies rather than his cells? Got it? Is there any significance of reverse grouping? That is my question. When we get result in forward grouping, why we are doing reverse grouping? Any idea? Any guesses? Any smart people? Reverse grouping has its own significance. Any guesses? Okay. Tell me the rules of transfusion. Rules of transfusion, there are 3 rules. This is a donor and this is a recipient. Rule number 1. What is the rule number 1? Cross matching we will discuss. Transfusion rules. I said 3 rules. Do you remember? The rule number 1 was negative group, positive group can receive negative blood, but at any cost, negative individual should not receive positive blood. Rule number 1. Do you remember this rule? Then rule number 2. The second rule was, I made a mistake here. Recipient and donor. The arrow should be in this direction, right? Donor and recipient. A negative donor can give, a positive donor can give to, negative blood can be received by a positive recipient, but at any cost he should not receive positive blood if he is a negative recipient. Right? Then rule number 2, that is receive donor and recipient. Recipient should not have any antibodies attacking donor cells. Donor might have antibodies that can attack recipient, but at any cost, recipient should not have antibodies that will target donor cells. Do you remember this rule? Recipient should not have any antibodies attacking the donor cells. Now listen, I will give you one case study. The case study goes like this. So, I have a donor and I have a recipient. I did blood grouping for donor and I came to know that donor was AB negative. AB negative. Then, recipient. I did blood grouping and I came to know my recipient also AB negative. Is it clear? Or I will do one more interesting thing. My donor actual group was O negative. Actually my recipient is O negative recipient, O negative patient. O negative individuals are universal. Okay, I'm making some things here. Let me do one thing. My recipient is AB negative, AB positive. Let me keep AB positive. Then he can receive all types of bloods, right? Universal recipient. Now my challenge was, imagine somehow the recipient. Actually, I was trying to construct a case study like this. Listen, very simple. I will go with the direct attack. There is a woman. Woman was negative blood group, O negative. fetus was positive fetus. Okay, positive blood fetus growing in a negative woman. Alright, there is a rule for a transfusion. We should not give positive blood to negative recipient at any cost. Right? We should not give positive group to negative recipient at any cost. Now listen, what happened was, during first delivery, some of the positive cells get in contact with the mother circulation, mother blood. Okay, during delivery, the placenta will be detached, the umbilical cord will be detached. During that time, hemorrhage will happen. Mother's blood will mix with fetus blood, or fetus blood will mix with mother's blood. So there is a mixing of positive blood, that is fetus, with the negative mother's blood. Now what mother immune system will do? Mother immune system will start developing RH positive, anti-RH positive antibodies. She developed the antibodies against RH positive blood. This is called as sensitization. In the first exposure, she developed the antibodies. Naturally, she don't have antibodies, but due to this fetus, she got a fetal exposure lead to positive antibodies in her body. Is it clear? Now, what happens in the second delivery? Let us see. 1 second. So, what happens in second delivery? Unfortunately, if the second pregnancy, if the fetus is again a positive fetus, now what happens? These antibodies will cross the placental barrier and they will destroy the baby. The baby might die due to hemolysis. Because the secondary baby is also a positive baby, now mother has antibodies to attack the baby. Am I correct? No. Naturally, once if you see her blood grouping, in the normal forward grouping, what is the result of her group? Let us see. This is the mother case. Okay, first pregnancy mother. She is a negative mother, but with a positive fetal delivery. Now let us see. Once you do forward grouping, the results look like this. The mother looks like O negative mother. She looks like a O negative mother. That is true actually. Because we only took her blood, her red blood cell, and we are checking her red blood cell antigen. Since we didn't get any antigen, we assume she is a negative group, O group, and there is no RH antibodies also. RH antigen also not present. RH antigen also not present. So we assume she is a negative individual, O negative individual. Am I correct? Is the concept clear? But listen, inside her body, we don't know that she has a very clear RH positive antibodies. She has a clear antibodies in her blood. Now, what we did was, we simply given universal donor blood, that is O positive, O group. So, it's a complication. She is in the delivery ward and she need an immediate blood transfusion. So, what we thought, since we simply given this blood to her, O positive blood to her, and immediately her blood started clotting because she has O positive antibodies. These antibodies attack the donor cells, leading to death of the woman. Because we haven't checked her antibodies. We haven't checked her antibodies. Blindly we went with forward grouping and we transfused the blood and there is a reaction. Got it? So how to eliminate these issues? To eliminate these issues, we must check her antibodies also. So we need to get two results. First, I need a forward grouping. In forward grouping, I can know she is O negative. When I do the reverse grouping, I must get O negative results. In the reverse reverse grouping, we will get a positive. Here we will get a result. The same mother group in reverse grouping, the positive cells will get reacted to a negative mother group. Ideally, negative mother should not have the antibodies, but why her serum reacted with RH positive cells? I think she was sensitized somehow and she developed antibodies. In this case, we should not give this blood. We should not transfuse this blood to her. So now you understood the significance of reverse grouping, to my knowledge. Why reverse grouping is very important. Got my point? There are some people who have some abnormal antibodies and those antibodies will attack the donor cells. We must check those antibodies also. Got it? If we are not doing reverse grouping, blindly we will think Talan is O negative and Simran is O negative. We can transfuse their blood. But I haven't checked whether Simran has any other antibodies attacking Talan's blood. Because I did only forward grouping, I transfused and Simran collapsed. That's why secondary I need to check her reverse grouping also for both the donor and recipient. I will take her serum and I will check with his cells whether her serum has any antibodies that are attacking Talal blood cells. If any reaction I got in reverse grouping, I will stop the transfusion. I won't go for proceeding to blood transfusion. So yeah, this is how we will do the blood transfusions. It's not just a grouping, it is also mandatory protocol of reverse grouping. Together this is called as cross matching. This concept is called as cross matching. This concept is called as cross matching. Cross matching are of two types. Can you tell me what are those? Yes. Forward and reverse. Listen. Major cross matching and minor cross matching. So in major what happens was, listen. In major, write down this concept, okay. Donor cells will mix with recipient serum. Donor cells are mixed with recipient serum. I will draw two test tubes here. This is a test tube. This is a test tube. This is a donor test tube, and this is recipient test tube. Now these are red blood cells, and this is supernatant. That means serum. And again, red blood cells, serum. In case of major cross matching, recipient serum was checked with donor cells. This is called as major cross matching. This is what we need. Am I correct? Recipient serum checked with donor red blood cells. Donor cells are mixed with recipient serum. This is called as major cross matching. This is very important. And now, based on our rule number 1, is it okay? Listen, I will give one scenario. Let us assume this is recipient, this is donor. Who is universal recipient? AB positive is universal recipient because he don't have any antibodies, so that's why he can receive all the blood groups. That means he can also receive blood from A group individual, to my knowledge. Am I correct? He can receive blood from A group because he don't have antibodies as per rule number 1. Recipient should not have antibodies Donor also have B antibodies. Is it safe to transfuse? Since he is A group individual, he has B antibodies. Will these antibodies attack this antigen of recipient? They won't. They will be dissolved. Am I correct? That is the second cross matching. Is it necessary to match donor serum with recipient cells? That means we are trying to check whether donor has any antibodies that will target our recipient cells. This concept is called as minor cross matching. Actually, we need not to worry about minor cross matching because these antibodies will be dissolved in the recipient. These antibodies won't cause any issue. Okay? So this is the concept of cross matching. Now you understood the significance of cross matching, right? So before even transfusing the blood, take a slide and mix a recipient serum with the donor cells. A drop of recipient serum, drop of donor cell. Okay? If any reaction happens, don't transfuse it. One classical example is erythroblastosis fetosis woman. She is a O-negative pregnant woman. We thought she is a in follow grouping. We thought she is a O group, and we went for transfusion. Unfortunately, she is having sensitization. So we did transfusion of O positive cells, and they reacted. Now, that is one example. Secondly, rheumatoid arthritis. The patients who has rheumatoid arthritis, they will also have abnormal antibodies. So they will reject most of the bloods because they have some abnormal antibodies. These antibodies will attack the donor cells. So that's why if the patient is past 55 or 60 years, without cross matching, don't touch the patient. So when I'm studying my masters, I got a story from my senior. That is a very interesting story. He is working in a blood lab. My senior was working in a blood bank, very reputed blood bank. Okay. So what happened? He is doing his night shift at 2 o'clock in the night. Suddenly he got a call. He is sleeping and suddenly he got a call that they need a patient. They need an urgent O negative group. O positive blood to the emergency ward. Universal donor, they will O group, and our technician has an issue. He must receive the patient's blood. He must do a cross matching. But doctor was in a hurry. Maybe they are in the middle of surgery, they got an issue. So they need an urgent blood. Now what happened? They are saying him to issue the blood packet without doing the cross matching. They didn't send the patient's blood to the lab. What should we do as a technician? This is one of the challenging situations. So he clearly denied. He said, I'm not going to issue any blood unless and until I will do my cross matching. Even the patient tell her I am not bothering. I did cross matching. Without that, I won't dispatch the blood packet. Now he got a threat from the lab manager. He said, if you are not dispatching the blood, you will be terminated from the job. Tomorrow morning you need not to come to the duty. What should he do? Listen, if something happened, if the patient died, who will be the responsible? Technician. They will say, why you dispatch the blood? And now technician has a job security issue. Now both are challenging. If he issue, the patient will die. If he is not issuing, his job will be lost. What to do? What you will do in that case? This is my own senior's problem. What? Save patient. So he want to lose his job. So Chandigarh was very good actually. She is a very good person. So what our senior did? He did a very simple thing. He took a photograph of the packet and he wrote it on the packet directly on permanent marker. Cross matching having done. Dispatched based on the urgency of my approval of my verbal approval of my manager, and he dispatched it. Okay. So obviously Unfortunately, the patient got a reaction. And fortunately, the nurse who is there in the ward, she already saw the marker and she transfused and immediately she saw the complication. She stopped in between the transfusion. She already know, she was aware and she checked and the patient started shivering. Shivering is one of the first signs of this one. Shivering and itching. Patient will start itching on her body. Okay. So they stopped and they started investigation and they took the lab manager and they kept him in the jail. He came outside after bail. Now they gave an award to this technician also. You did the right thing. Okay. So yes, so you need to be very cautious. Just because of your management pressure, don't do any mistakes. If that is a critically ill patient, he might die if that is past 60 years old. See, a simple things can lead to death. Maybe we can say like this, we are seeing MLT in a scientific point of view or as a job point of view, but moreover, it's like a, we are trying to save a life at the end of the day. The patient family, they don't know what we have done. They will only think whether my husband or my beloved person is alive or not after this surgery. And we are trying to hijack the death. That is what I used to feel. We are trying to cheat the death by all these tests. So when we are trying to cheat something that is very valuable, we should be very responsible. Only God can cheat the death. After God, and that opportunity is in our hands to save his life. If not, that Yama is always ready to kill him. Yama means he is the god of killing. So we are mini gods, or we are the extensions of God's hands. And we should not do any mistakes. We should be responsible in our duties. Right? So always keep these things in your mind. This is not just a normal lab or something as per job we are doing. Alright, thank you very much. This is for today's. Yes, Melissa, any doubts?